Hi, this is John Barnes, and you're listening to Kop On.
Hi, it's Owen. Bit of an intro here, which is unusual, just to let you know there's some technical issues coming up because I have had about 3 hours sleep, as I mentioned a few times in the show, in the course of the show, and thus I didn't plug my mic in. So you've got a sort of weird mic for the start, and then it gets better I would say about 23% of the way into the show. And it's a good show. It's a lovely show today for you. I do hope you enjoy it. We've got Jack Mack from Anfield Road TV who's back, and Nigel's back as well. Lovely to have them both on the show as ever. Do get in touch, koponpodcast@gmail.com, and enjoy it. We're going to talk about the Brentford game, and we're going to preview Luton, and we're going to save any kind of far off thoughts of EFL Cup finals for another show. Enjoy, and thank you so much for listening. Wow, hello everybody. Wowzers, yowzers. Welcome, it's Kop On Podcast. We are back, you scrumptious crumpets, for another show. I'm delighted to be joined by Nigel, and it's after Liverpool beat Brentford. We're live on YouTube, and we're recording for our cherished audio listeners. So yes, please let me know if you're on YouTube, you want to get some comments in, please do. And otherwise, send us an email, koponpodcast@gmail.com. I've had about 2 hours sleep, so I'm very, very, very tired. And I was looking for a poem, and, you know, of course, there's the obvious one, is Virgil, the poet from 70 BC to 19 BC, the great Roman poet. But instead I found some poetry from our very own dear Virgil van Dijk, who had his 250th appearance for the club the other day, and he's just back to his imperious best, isn't it? But anyway, Virgil said, and I quote, "Calmness is the most difficult thing to have if you are under a lot of pressure or being rushed. That is the big message. You have to stay calm, however difficult. What is the trick of staying calm? It is to enjoy your football. You have to expect difficulties. We play in the Premier League. We play against difficult teams who want to hurt you and who want to kick you off from first place. We have to be ready to suffer. We are not a perfect team, but we have to keep going. You have to win each game that is in front of you, and by the looks of things, that will definitely be needed." Close the quotes. Nigel, and Jack has just jumped into the chat. Absolutely wonderful to have you with us, Jack. I was just quoting Virgil van Dijk, who was basically talking about calmness, and, you know, calmness is the most difficult thing to have, but that is the big message. You have to stay calm, however difficult. Nigel, are you staying calm? Because I'm finding it very difficult.
Yeah, I'm calmer after the games than I am during the games, I think.
What are you doing during the games? What do you bite your nails? What do you do? Do you pace up and down? Do you sort of, you know, you're stroking the cat like a Bond villain? Are you chucking the cat against the wall?
I'm down to the elbows.
Like Zuma. Sorry?
I'm down to the elbows.
Okay.
Yeah, look, he was a very perceptive fella for 17 BC, that Virgil.
Yes, he knew his footy. Absolutely.
Well, I was working on Saturday, so I was watching the game, and my manager's a Man United fan, but he's kind of understands the situation. Nice. So I was kind of watching it in work without sound, really, but I got to see it. We didn't start all that well, but once we kind of got going, and the injuries were the thing, really, you know what I mean? That's the worrying part. Once we scored, it was we actually played really, really well after that. They had a couple of chances, but we kept them kind of at arm's length, so to speak. I thought Virgil and Ibu were very, very good. Somebody said it on another podcast. They were kind of left on their own at the back because our lads were pushing on a bit. And they were kind of left on their own at the back, and they did very, very well. And Quiveen as well had a good game in goal.
Absolutely. But let's talk about Virgil first off, because as I said, it was 250 appearances. I mean, he had a big part to play in the first goal, because I don't know if you remember, I watched the highlights back twice actually, and parts of the game, and just to get into a few of the details. So the first goal was from a really shitty non-free kick. It was no way a free kick. And was it Michael Oliver or just someone who looked like him? Because a lot of refs look like him now. But no, Jack's nodding his head. It was the real Michael Oliver. He's really bad referee. We've been saying this for about 2 or 3 years on Kop On. 5 years ago, he was good, but he hasn't been good for about 3 seasons now. And he was just giving them all kinds of... Basically, Tony Taylor is exactly the same. If you fall over and yelp, you get a free kick. That's the rule. And the second rule is he will never give a big decision against any team as well. So they're the 2 rules. But anyway, for our first goal, Michael Oliver gave Brentford a shitty free kick. They launched it long, okay, and it came to Virgil, and Virgil pumped it out of there. No messing, under strict instructions from Jurgen Klopp, who was speaking pre-match about the danger of Brentford set pieces. So Virgil was taking no chances, humped it long, and then Diogo Jota with that extremely beautiful flick on. Because that ball, I mean, I heard a couple of podcasts, both used the same image, that it came down with snow on it because it went so high. But I would say it came down with, like, you know, a sort of a blaze of fire, like a sort of meteorite, because it went much higher than the snow layer. But anyway,
holy moly.
What was I blithering on about? Oh, yes. Virgil. Big Verge. Apparently, Nigel, he's played 250 games for Liverpool, and he has been involved in the winning team in 171 of those 250 games, which is more than any player in Liverpool's history. 1892. That's crazy. And in a sense, he hasn't got the trophies to show for it. But we're talking an all-time great of the game, not just of Liverpool Football Club, but of football in total. Wouldn't you say, Nigel?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was a stat. I was listening to another podcast yesterday. Shout out to the Red Poets. Very, very good pod yesterday. And they said there are, I think, 7 out of the top winners, so to speak. Virgil being top, 171 in 250 games. There are 7 of Klopp's team in our top 10.
That's amazing.
For amount of wins. So there's I think there's Genie was in there at one stage. I think Mane, Salah, Robbo was in it. Trent is in it. So it's an amazing stat. We knew we were buying a special player. We wouldn't have paid 75 million for a guy when we signed him, and everyone was laughing at us. He ain't worth that. He ain't worth this. He ain't worth that. And people laughed at us. And United went out and spent 80 million, no one batted an eyelid.
On Harry Maguire.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a better player than Virgil van Dijk. My ass, he's a better player than I'm a better player than Harry Maguire. He's just amazing. He's been a great leader for us down the years. The fact that he's only captain this year is testament to what Jordan Henderson did within the club and how good a leader he was for us as well. By the way, incredible. Scored on his debut against Everton in that cup game that really sickened the Blues. There was about 2 minutes to go, and he goes and heads that one in. It was great.
That's why they call it the Blues, isn't it? It's for moments like that, for the poor Everton fans.
Just go back to when you were mentioning about that big long ball to Jota. That big Route 1 pump up front. I have to say, people saying about how good a header it was. The fact that the ball would have been up in the air, swirling around, and he got such a contact and put himself in such a position to be all over Reguilon, to head that ball into Darwin's path. You watch the highlights again from the still when the ball is hit, and you can see he's already on the half turn, and Darwin has turned as well. And you could see the two of them going. You could see Jota watching the ball over his shoulder the whole way and getting in position.
Very difficult thing to do.
It's extremely difficult. The ball swirling in the air, and he, to head it with such accuracy into Darwin's Darwin's run might have made it a little bit easier because he ran into the path of it. But to head it with such accuracy into the area where he was going to run, where he didn't have to really break stride, it was incredible. What a magnificent header.
It was magnificent indeed from Diogo. And I don't know, fingers crossed as we're recording this, as we're talking. We don't know the extent of his injury, but of course,
2 months, I reckon.
Yeah, but I've heard lots of different reports. I don't know where is that 2 months from, Nigel?
It's coming from all over the place last night.
Well, exactly.
There was some of the Portuguese people saying that he'll be okay for the Euros and stuff like that. That it's the what is it? The posterior.
The PCT, posterior
rather than the anterior
ligament, or whatever, PCL, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor like most of the people who claim to know what the heck is going on. It's we just, I don't know. Fingers crossed. And Darwin, there's no official news either from Darwin, but that's likely to be much later. And Curtis Jones. Again, no news, but John Barnes and Tim Sherwood were doing the punditry, I believe, on South African TV. And they said that it looked like ankle ligament damage to both of them. They both agreed. And so that's terrible news if that is true. But we don't know yet. We don't know about the injuries. But of course, we're, it is one of the reasons why it's so hard to stay calm amidst all of this. God knows how the players are doing it, Jack. Are you staying calm?
Yeah, mate. I think I think we've learned as a fan base over the years. I think we've learned the hard way in terms of title races. We've got giddy. I think that's part of being a parcel of a football fan. But I think when I certainly analyse Arsenal as a fan base, I'm like, that used to be us under Rafa, under Rodgers as well. We were ahead, and then we know how that ended, sadly. But yeah, giddy. I think just enjoy if the two lads with Jones and Jota, if you really deep it, they could have played their last football under Jurgen Klopp. And if that is the case, that is deeply disappointing, because I think them, especially Jota, we know how important he has been for Jurgen Klopp as well. But Curtis Jones has been given an opportunity by Jurgen. He kept him round the club as a young lad as well, so he's shown a lot of faith, and I think Jones has finally repaid that. You lads and anyone listening to regular my channel, I love Curtis even when he was a young lad. I've always had confidence in him, but I think this last 12 months he showed a lot more of that faith put in him, and he's performed extremely well. But I think a calmness has got to be a rational approach to current moments. The Chelsea point was massive, as we know, this week, which was great. He should have beat City, but it is what it is. I think 2 points dropped is massive. It's in our hands. We just got to, as we've done countless podcasts on your podcasts, mate, over the years, it's just got to be one game at a time, really. And it's the boring mantra, as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago on Kop On, but it is what it is. I
don't find it boring, Jack. I find it. I love it. Yeah, because it gives us time as podcasters to get into each game, and to, if the secret to staying calm, as Virgil was saying, is enjoying your football,
enjoy the moments as well, and
enjoying the moment. I mean, I've got loads to say about Luton, which we'll talk about in a bit, and loads to say on this match. But no, you're absolutely right. And but Jack, I mean, I'm glad you can, I think that is the trick, enjoying the football. The weekend was very enjoyable, Jack, wasn't it? I mean, did you see Man City, Chelsea?
I was laughing my head off because I don't know anyone listening, if you watched the game, Christ, if Darwin Núñez played up front for City, they'd be having a funfair on social media. But because Erling Haaland slapped about 1 million goals in last season, he's allowed to miss 5 million more if you want. It felt like 5 million against Chelsea, but it is what it is. And it was a good game. Poch doing a typical Tottenham. You can take a man out of Tottenham, but you can't take the Tottenham out of a man. It's one of them, mate. But
it was stupid, Jack. It was really, really dumb.
I don't get the substitutions. I think they come like 10, 15 minutes too early.
And
it's like,
if you're going to play defensively, you give at least one of them the responsibility to pick up Kevin De Bruyne, because the amount of times, if you didn't see the match, City were absolutely dominant in the second half. Pochettino pulled a Steven Gerrard when Gerrard was winning with his Villa team on the last game of the season and took off their most exciting attacking player. Gerrard took off Coutinho and Poch took off Cole Palmer to replace him with a defender, but then just put them in a very rigid shape. And if there's one thing that any Pep Guardiola team is going to do, every single training session, they're going to play against a very rigid low block defense, and they're going to work out ways of picking them apart. So no one, Kevin De Bruyne, the amount of times he was allowed to take a touch and cross it in with no pressure. And we're so lucky as Liverpool fans, he had a terrible second half on a personal level, just as bad as Haaland, who, by the way, is on 21 big chances missed for this season, equal with Darwin Núñez at the top of the Premier League for big chances missed. But anyway, Poch tried to throw it away, but he didn't, Jack. And that was brilliant. I mean, I don't know. Were you sort of punching the air? I was like gyrating.
Yeah,
when
I
that
think
final whistle went.
I don't know if it was Nigel or someone on my podcast this week. I think it was one of the lads on my pod when I done with Kev on my post match. They said, I don't know you lads or anyone listening was celebrating the Sterling goal. I haven't done that in a very long time. And I know he's burnt a couple of bridges at Liverpool, but if he's helped us maybe win a league title, I think might give him a pat on the back, all of us. But yeah, it's one of them, mate, and it just goes to show the quality. All the podcasts that we've done this year, like you look at Villa, if they continue to win, you look at Tottenham, and if they need a couple more points to get into top four come at the end of May, it's Arsenal. If Arsenal have learned from their past mistakes of last season, this league could get extremely exciting. And if we can go into that City game in a couple of weeks with that gap, even if it's a 3-4 point gap, it could be massive, lads and ladies, as well, because it's the psychological burden of we've been here before, 30 years prior, 31, whatever it was before we won the league. It was that self-doubt. But now we've got Jurgen, we've got title winners already within our squad, Champions League winners. Do you know what it means? Obviously added in with a World Cup winner, a lad from Hungary as well, a lot of flair within that team. And it's a young squad, and whoever does come in next summer, and hopefully they are coming into a title winning side, a team that is already fresh off the back of winning trophies. It's an extremely exciting time, lads, as well. Enjoy it, and it's just these added element as well, as we spoke about over the last couple of months with the Jurgen Klopp news. Just enjoy every second, enjoy the ride, as everyone says. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward, as we said. Probably speak about Luton later, but it's not going to be an easy game. They have been very good in the last couple of weeks. Could have won yesterday, but I won't get drawn into that.
We're sorry to cut you off there, but we're going to talk about Luton in a bit, Jack, because I want to save that for later. I want to focus on the Brentford game, if you don't mind. By the way, Jack, thank you for your answers. They're all excellent stuff. Anybody who's listening, check out Anfield Road TV on YouTube. Jack Mack LFC. You can Google. You can find Jack's work there. Absolutely wonderful podcasts and YouTube channel. So do check that out. But going back to the Brentford game, Nigel. If we look at it in terms of the goals scored, we've spoken a little bit about the first goal. The second goal was McAllister's goal, and Jack was just talking about the new manager coming in. It could be a man or a woman. I wonder if, brilliant, like woman manager from the women's game, someone like the Chelsea manager. What was her name? Emma Hayes, was it? She always seemed like a really bright and brilliant manager who should have. I now she's retired, but she could have had a big impact on the men's game as well. But anyway, let's assume people will go with the zeitgeist and get Xabi Alonso. If it is him, a player like McAllister, Nigel, is an absolute dream to inherit. At the end of the match, there were great scenes with Konate singing with the crowd and McAllister looking really happy. And they interviewed McAllister on the pitch, and he said, and I quote, "You can see how much it means to us to win football games." And then the commentator said, the interviewer asked him, how do you feel about your position? The obvious question. You're playing in the 6. And he said, I like it. I like it. I always say that my idea is to understand football and be helpful to the team. So wherever they need me, it doesn't matter if it's 6, 10, or 9. When I was in Argentina, I used to play as a 10, so I know what the position means. I try to score and assist. That's very important. I freaking love Macca, Nigel. For me, my love for him, it's like a great romance when you think you're completely in love with someone and you think, I can't possibly love this person anymore. And then the next week, you find yourself loving them just a little bit more. And it's a beautiful thing, Nigel. That's how I feel about Alexis McAllister. The goal was brilliant. The touch was brilliant. The pass was brilliant. Talk to me about McAllister or the goal or whatever you want.
An intelligent player. That's the thing. And he has the ability to be versatile and play in different positions. That's the sign of a versatile player and a player who'll do his best for the team. You could see Alonso would love him playing in that 6 because Alonso was good at that as well. Creative. He could put a foot in when he needed to. I thought him and Endo were both magnificent the weekend. I thought they were both great. You probably saw that comment I said in an endomic performance, so to speak. I thought the two of them were absolutely magnificent. Endo just kept breaking everything up, and then you'd see, like we've seen McAllister doing that, and then to see him breaking into the box and taking that first touch and that lovely little finish, they're just intelligent play all around, really. A good ball from Mo, you know. It's just speed of thought. It's the first goal was the same speed of thought. Mo, same thing. The two Brentford centre halves stopped. All 4 of our goals were quick thinking. They were just. We have a lot of good players, and good players with good fast brains makes them twice as good. My favourite player of all time. They say he wasn't the quickest in the world, but he had 2 yards in his head. Kenny Dalglish. That's the thing. Yards in the head.
That's true. You're absolutely right. Alexis McAllister is a great comparison because there's definitely, a link with the king himself, how he plays. But yeah, what can I say? Alexis, the goal was beautiful. The way he took it, Jack, that first touch and the second touch, the stretching, the little toe poke. But what I liked as well about that second goal was Gravenberch. Gravenberch, for me, it was his best game for us because not only did I see quite consistently him involved all the time and showing his great skills on the ball, I also saw great shows of strength. Like he held off Norgard to play the ball to vertically, a lovely little short vertical pass to Mo Salah, who then hit that left foot pass on the floor towards McAllister. Gravenberch, man, you said many years ago how much you love Curtis Jones and how you saw the potential. Do you see the potential in Gravenberch or not yet?
Certainly, mate. I don't know. Obviously, I've been banging the drum for years on my channel. Even when he got that move to Bayern Munich, I wanted him to come to Liverpool. I've done countless videos on him. He's a lad with immense technical ability. I think he's surprised. Obviously, he's a Dutch lad from the Ajax Academy, so it's the age of 5. The probably in the Johan Cruyff Academy doing Cruyff turns already. That's what they do in Holland, and that's why they produce so many elite footballers, especially at the Ajax Academy anyway. And they go all around Europe. But Ryan, he's 21 still. I think that's one of the most amazing things when you speak about the youthfulness within this squad, especially if we can get into that winning habit of picking up trophies I think it should be a bare minimum at a football club like Liverpool, especially the era we do find ourselves, pre-Jurgen Klopp and a post-Jurgen Klopp era as well. This squad has got immense quality. Ryan Gravenberch, as you alluded to there, mate. I'd agree, mate. I think he didn't set the world alight, but I think that highlights a good performance of a footballer. When you don't see them always on the camera, I think that's a solid 6, 7 out of 10. Similar with Virginia Wijnaldum, you need those type of players. And at the age of 21, he's only going to develop even more. I think he's readjusting to the Premier League. I think the fact that he didn't play a lot at Bayern Munich, it was very difficult coming off the bench in certain games. But I think once he fully develops in terms of Jurgen Klopp, post Jurgen Klopp, and then obviously with the new manager, I think with the new changing of guards, I don't think there'll be a drastic switch from a tactical sense, because it's not like we're going to get a Diego Simeone, we're going to get a manager that will go hand in hand with all the data analysis people at the club. So it'll be very, very similar in terms of fitting like a glove. So I don't think to be much readjusting, mate. But yeah, when he come on, mate, and in terms of the second goal, I think it's such cool South American, especially Argentinian touch in that penalty area. Obviously, Nigel alluded to it in terms of just that setting up, little jink from the left onto his right foot, and then just a little toe poke. Sometimes I'd love Darwin Núñez to just score a couple more toe pokes, because I think sometimes he just hits the ball a bit too sweet, in all honesty, for me.
Well, no, yeah, great answer. Gravenberch ended up with 3 tackles and 3 clearances, as well as an 82% passing accuracy. It was very good. It was very much more solid physically than in previous outings, and yeah, but we've got so much to talk about. Lucho Diaz. I thought he was terrific. Who scored agreed with me. They gave him 7.89 and the man of the match, despite only having 1 assist. I think the real man of the match is Mo Salah, as usual, and followed by Virgil van Dijk. But and then Endo, very good. But Lucho and Endo, so many good performances. But yeah, you mentioned Endo, Jack. You could choose, Nigel. Do you want to talk to us about Lucho or about Endo?
Well, I want to talk about the nice balance we have at the moment.
Oh, good. So sorry, I should have said C, or A, B, or C. Other. Yeah. Carry on. The nice balance we have. Yeah.
We have nice balance because we can get the ball up to Lucho, and he's looking much better than he has been. But then we've got Endo just stopping their play in the midfield, a very intelligent player as well. And then we've pushed Mac forward, and he's looking much better. And Conor Bradley up and down the line as well. You know, and like we said earlier on, the 2 guys playing centre back were kind of left on their own because our fullbacks were pushing on. Now their goal might have been slightly coming from that, pushing on a little bit too much when we were ahead, and they were kind of having a bit of a go. But just our balance looks really good at the moment. Like everyone's supporting everyone. I thought Gravenberch was fantastic when he came on. I was actually worried when Curtis Jones went off that we were going to get possibly another one of his Arsenal performances, because he wasn't good that day. Mm-hmm. But I just, if you saw, I've written the comment there in the chat that his physicality, I think Klopp's been working with him, because his physicality was much better, his passing was better, his movement was better, everything was better. He looked a real player on Saturday. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He was getting tighter to players. He was shoving them off. Like, he's 6'3" and a big lad, and he used his physical attributes there on Saturday a lot better than he has been. He's been kind of pushed off the ball a little bit in earlier games, but not on Saturday.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. And in terms of our midfield, I mean, and the balance, I mean, one thing that's been really pleasing is the amount of goals and assists. I've got FBref.com in front of me with the Liverpool stats for the season in all competitions. So McAllister's got 2 goals and 2 assists from a number 6 position. That's pretty good. Szoboszlai, 5 goals and 3 assists. Curtis Jones, 5 goals and 3 assists. And given the amount of praise Dominic Szoboszlai has been getting, I think Curtis could be getting even more because he's certainly deserved it, because Curtis has played roughly 300 minutes less than Dom, and 5 goals, 3 assists for each. But I mean, it's brilliant to have that. Harvey Elliott, 1 goal and 2 assists, but he's been brilliant in other ways, very, very similar to Iniesta, if I may, in terms of linking the team. Doesn't get goals or assists, but links everything together. the needle in your sewing machine. Diogo Jota, he's not a midfielder, 14 goals and 4 assists. That's good though. Wataru Endo, 2 goals and 1 assist. Ryan Gravenberch, 3 goals and 2 assists. And I think that's it for midfielders, unless you count Trent, which is 2 goals and 10 assists.
Is it the 36 contributions, goal and assist contributions from substitutes this season?
Oh, I haven't got that stat in front of me,
I think it's 36.
Well, that sounds remarkable. Do you know who's
most in Europe?
Most in Europe. Do you have another team to compare for by any chance? Do you have, like, for example, how many did Man City have, or Bayern, or anybody? Or
no, I don't at the moment. I remember I've been kind of keeping track of it in my head, because they've been adding up over the few weeks, and people are saying they've got most goals and assists contributions from substitutions, and I think at the moment it stands at about 36, as far as I can remember. I'll have a look there in a minute now, but Jack might be having a look.
Amazing.
I don't have my PC turned on at the moment.
Oh, okay. Jack, can you have a look for us while I check out something out? While I give you some more great stats, because I've got tons of them. Oh yeah, the plan was, even though I'm going all over the place, the plan, there was a plan, believe it or not, for this show, was to go through go through the Brentford game goal by goal, and we're kind of doing that slowly but surely. We're going around the houses, we're looping the loop, but it brings us to the third goal, which was scored by Mohamed Salah, who was absolutely sensational off the bench. And there's something that I missed from his last performance, because it seems that every single game he breaks a new record. And it's been true in the last 2 performances. So the performance before Brentford, before he went away to the AFCON, let me try and find the stat. Yes, he has 20 plus goal involvements in 7 consecutive seasons. And only in the Premier League. Just Premier League. He's had for the last 7 seasons, he's had 20 plus goal involvement, so goals and assists. Only Rooney, Henry, and Harry Kane had done that before, and that was the game before Brentford, before he went away to AFCON. But from the Brentford game, the record he broke. I can't remember now. But he had. Andrew Beasley said Salah has now assisted 26 different players for Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson have both assisted 22, and Firmino 21. So Mo Salah, I mean, we talk about his creative genius. He's assisted more players, because now he's got an assist for McAllister, than any other. And there was another record, and I can't find it because I'm very tired. I've had about 2 hours sleep. But there you go. Oh, there's the Jack found it. Yes, you found it, Jack. What have you found?
Yeah, in terms of substitution data as it stands at the minute, in terms of goal involvements, Liverpool and Arsenal, this is correct, it should be, it's on transfermarket.com, goal involvements from substitutions or like a goal involvement, i.e. a goal or an assist. Liverpool and Arsenal both on 20 goals, both played 25 games, and then De Zerbi is the third most with 18 goal involvements from his substitutions, and then the 4th place team is Unai Emery, which doesn't really surprise you considering how they've played. But in terms of Pep Guardiola's substitutions, which is quite one of the reasons probably why they're not about 20 points clear this season, which is surprising, they've only got 9 goal involvements off substitutions when they've made them, which is quite staggering in all honesty.
So that would be Premier League only, as opposed to all competitions across Europe. But okay, very interesting. So Liverpool equal first in that, but that's very interesting. And speaking of goal involvements, the 4th goal was scored by Cody Gakpo. Sorry, we didn't really talk about Mo Salah's goal. Can I just say, Cody Gakpo with the flick on, there was that moment of indecision between the 2 Brentford centre-backs who are, as wide apart. You could fit the River Mersey between the 2 centre-backs. And they sort of looked at each other saying, oh, you go and get it. No, you go and get it. Mo Salah didn't hesitate like that because, as usual, he's thinking much faster than anyone else out there. And Mo Salah just sort of latched onto it, and the goal he sort of I thought if you could attach some wool to Nathan Collins's legs, then he would have knitted you a jumper by the time that ball went into the back of the net, because his legs were flipping about all over the place, and you would have gotten yourself a nice jumper, because that's what Mo Salah does. He flummoxes people. He absolutely flummoxes them, Jack. I love that goal. How do you remember celebrating that goal? Because that was a huge one. Was it 3-1 or 3-0 at that time?
3-0, yeah.
3-0 at that time.
It was,
okay.
It was almost like it stopped in time. Lads, I don't know you lads or anyone listening. It's one of them. I think we all watching it. We were like, oh, and then it like 5 seconds passed. It was like, oh, then Salah's caught up to it. It was one of them, as you alluded to, with the flick on in the midfield on the halfway line, and then Salah. We know he's lightning quick, one of the quickest players in Europe. But it was. I think I said it on my post match with Kev. Like, it's very surprising. I think he's a very, very good centre half, Ben, but he almost stopped in terms of that transition. Really, quite staggering.
He thought Nathan Collins was going to cover,
yeah,
and he didn't. So then he started running.
I'm pretty sure he got an absolute rollicking off Thomas Frank when he went in anyway. But it was, he no would tie anyone in knots, really, made one of these. He's so good. He didn't know to go left or right, Collins. I'm surprised he didn't fall on his arse or something. But yeah, it was a very good goal. I think he had a couple of chances, Salah, in that game. Could have come away another day with a hat-trick. But that's just another typical Mohamed Salah goal. He'll be kicking himself, but they're the high expectations we know Salah does have. But yeah, it was one of them in terms of just quickly touching on the fourth goal as well. Just goes to show the amount of goals, as we've already said today. I think if we are to win the league, and hopefully do, it will be goals that we absolutely demolish teams with. I think hopefully we can get our goal difference up this week. Well, in 2 nights' time against Luton.
Oh, man.
We a bit more of a goal difference, because considering...
I'm not against Luton though. They're organised, Jack.
Yeah.
They're organised.
But we've got to, I think, do well going into the cup final. If we can put in a very, very strong performance, and Cody can hopefully lead the line.
Yeah, well, all right. We'll get there. We'll still hold fire with the Luton chat. But no, you're absolutely right. That was 3-0 at that time, and then Ivan Toney got a goal. They had 1-touch, 2-touch passing on our left-hand side, and Virgil stepped up while Konate dropped deep, and that's happened too often. I mean, to pick holes in a team that's top of the league seems a bit girlish, but that's happened too often. I would say under Jurgen Klopp, where the defensive line is more like it's like the snake in Snakes and Ladders. I'd rather it be the ladder than the snake, but it happens, and and then Ibu may have fouled Wissa in the box, but it was touch and go. But the ball went to Reguilon anyway, who shot, and it was a brilliant save by Queeve. But then the ball, unluckily for us, it fell to Ivan the Terrible, who didn't miss from 6 yards out on his left foot. So that goal was, a bit disappointing. And I thought at that stage that they were going to come back, and I was like, oh shit, because that was very shaky defense on our behalf to have such a bad offside line and stuff. But no, we just stood up, and that's the thing. This team is so resilient. It's insane how resilient we are. And that brings us to the Gakpo goal. So Brentford lost it on our right touchline an hour and a half, and Joe Gomez played an intelligent long ball. And you can hear Jurgen Klopp on the sideline in the commentary. Watch it back, and he goes, "Yeah," because that was a great decision by Joe Gomez. It's obviously a tactic. He knew Brentford were going to push us, so he played a long ball over the top, and we had like a 2 versus 2. Nathan Collins took a swing and a miss, allowing Lucho, who was lightning for me. I really loved Lucho's performance against Brentford. And he played in Gakpo. Awful defending again by Brentford. But Cody took 2 right foot touches before slamming the ball in with his left foot. And Nigel, on Cody Gakpo, we haven't spoken about him too much, but with the amount of podcasts I listen to, and I'm sure you listen to as well, you're bound to have heard a lot of opinion about him on other podcasts, and loads of people seem to be suggesting that he's having like a not so good season. But as always on Kop On, if you're going to have an opinion, back it up with the numbers. So I looked at the numbers, and I'll give you some now if I can find them on my screen. Yeah, here they are. So if you look at the overall numbers, right, like at a glance, like the likes of Nigel Rio-Coker or Jermaine Genius or Danny Murphy or one of the dimwits who work for the BBC, they just take a cursory glance at these numbers, okay? So 23 Premier League appearances, 4 goals, 3 assists. So you're Danny Murphy, you've just Googled Cody Gakpo goals and assists, and that's you at the end of your research, and you're like, oh, yeah, well, he doesn't really score enough or assist enough. He's not having a great season. Look a little bit deeper. Open the lid of your head and rummage around the grey matter for a little while, Danny, because if you break it down, it breaks down like this. He's actually, in 23 Premier League appearances, he's only actually played 975 minutes, which works out as 10 matches if you include additional time. So 10 matches, almost exactly. 4 goals, 3 assists already sounds a lot better. 7 goal involvements in 10 matches. That's very, very good. And then you got to factor in that 7 of those 23 Premier League appearances, and I worked this out earlier today, 7 of those Premier League appearances were all in midfield. So he'd had 16 appearances in his favourite attacking roles, even though central isn't really his favourite. He prefers to be on the left. So he's only had a few appearances. A lot of the time as a substitute. He's had no rhythm, and he's got 4 goals and 3 assists. And I think that's brilliant, Nigel. And then if you couple that with 4 goals in 5 EFL Cup games and 2 goals in 4 Europa League games, I think the only thing keeping Cody back is more time on the pitch, because he's showing that he's useful. And when he plays in attack, which is his favourite position, he can be deadly. Give me your thoughts on Cody.
Well, I like Cody. I've got Cody from day one. I was really hoping we'd sign him. Also, some more stats. He's the 4th Liverpool player this season to score 10 goals in all competitions. First time that's happened since 1981-82.
Wonderful stat. That's from Michael Reed, I believe. But carry on.
Kenny Dalglish, Terry McDermott, David Johnson, and Graham Souness.
Wow. Legends all. All.
Absolutely. But yes, I like Cody. He looked a little bit more kind of on it as well Saturday. He was more involved. He was a little bit more physical. People were saying that on the podcasts again. They're crying out for him to be a little bit more physical, use his size a little bit more, as same with Gravenberch.
That's
some of the Dutch lads might be a little bit too laid back sometimes. You can be really, really laid back when you're Virgil. You know what I mean? He's that good. But the other lads might just need to put in a little bit more.
Well, 1 tackle and 1 blocked shot for Cody Gakpo on the weekend. So he was getting into defensive situations. He was doing quite well.
As well as that, his challenging in the air, that flick on for the 3rd goal. He hadn't really been doing that, actually using his size, his physical ability a little bit more. That's exactly what we needed from Ryan Gravenberch and Cody Gakpo, who they're big guys, and it can only be good for the club. And if they can go on and just keep going with that general physicality in games, if you know what I mean, just putting themselves around, because people won't knock these guys off the ball. They're too big. You know, they've got to have a little bit of steel about them, and if they get that little bit of steel, we could be looking at 2 really, really good players for the future. 24 years old and 21 years old. You know what I mean? They're not old.
Amazing.
We're looking. They could be there with us for another decade, both of them.
Yeah, they could. Because as you said, I totally agree. Yeah, just use your stature to your advantage, because they've got so many skills. They're so talented, both of them, and really intelligent footballers. I love that. And Jack, it's that moment. when we can actually talk about the Luton game. You've been dying to all game. So Luton, I was looking at some stats on whoscored.com about Luton, and they've scored 15 goals from open play. They've scored 10 set pieces. They've scored 4 penalties. They've had 3 own goals, and they've scored 2 from the counter attack, which Who Scored doesn't count as open play, which is a bit weird. But there you go. So they've actually scored quite a lot of goals. They're 2 top scorers. They've got Morris, is that his name? The number 9. He's a big guy up front. And they've got Adebayo as well. And they're both doing very well, 9 goals and 7 goals, respectively. In terms of how they attack basically on the wings, like most teams. The majority of their attacks come from the side, but then they get the ball into the middle. So they've actually taken shots. 72% of their shots come from the middle of the pitch, as opposed to like 15% either side, basically. They have 9% of their shots in the 6-yard box, 59% of their shots in the 18-yard box, and 32% outside of the box. So, in other words, what does all that mean? It means that we can expect them to build up through the wings. We can expect players like Amari Bell to be excellent at carrying the ball forward through our midfield, feeding it out wide, getting the ball, getting crosses into the box, and also shooting from outside the box. This is what we can expect from Luton, according to the stats. And according to the eye test against Manchester United, I watched them. I haven't seen much of Luton, but I watched that 90 minutes yesterday as we're recording this. And they looked organised. They looked like they had heart. They looked like they had skill. And they looked like they could pose any team, a few questions. They can give you a headache. I reckon Ten Hag and the boys have been taking a paracetamol this morning, Jack. But you're feeling optimistic. You think we can score 4-5. You're like, yeah, screw these Luton guys. They were at Anfield. It's Klopp's last season. We're gonna all be emotional and sweep them aside.
I think we'll do that to City in a couple of weeks. We've got full confidence with that. It's we are Jurgen Klopp's red juggernaut.
Yeah.
Yes. The 5th of November. Let's cast our minds back. Jurgen Klopp would have been banging his head against a fridge door or whatever wall, or like all of us, because that game was an absolute joke. I think we done a podcast a couple of weeks ago as well when we talked about that game. We dominated them, but yet again, in certain elements in a Jurgen Klopp team over the years, is we just don't take some of our chances. It's quite rare that we don't do that. But we created 75% possession. We created 24 shots, but we only had 6 on target that game. And yeah, like it was, I think Jurgen Klopp, we'll just have to say, 5th of November, lads. Remember that game. We want to win the league. We've got big objectives this season. But in terms of Luton, mates, I've been pleasantly surprised. I think it's refreshing to have a new team in the Premier League. Especially their journey they've been on in the last 10 years in terms of from promotion. I think that's one of football. That's why I love football. One of the elements, like all of us. I think if you're a Luton fan and you were supporting them when you were very low down there in English football as well, all those tiers. I'd like them to stay in the Premier League at the expense of a certain club across Stanley Park as well, which would be great. We'll be celebrating with the Luton fans at the end of the season as well. But yeah, it's going to be one of those games. I think we will take it upon ourselves to really cast them aside. They are just another team in front of us. No disrespect to Luton, but they are in the way of our objectives. We've got to not have an arrogance about our game, but I think we've got to score early if we possibly can and do what we've done do what we've done this weekend as well, if we can.
I mean, let's hope so. The omens are good, Nigel. Liverpool have lost just one of our last 54 Premier League games at Anfield. Won 41, drawn 12, and lost 1, which is it's ridiculous. That one we lost, sorry to bring it back to, was against Jesse Marsh's Leeds in October 2022, it's going to be a very, very different side and very different.
Yeah, we were terrible that night.
We were like a lot of times in 22-23 season. I mean, I can't believe it was like that was last season. I can't believe it. The change, the night and day, the sad and the happy, the yin and the yang. Between those energies and this energy is incredible, because this team it's the opposite of last season. It's got resilience, it's got intelligence, it's got bite, it's got enjoyment. It's fun to watch Liverpool matches. It's exciting to watch Liverpool matches. And Luton have never won a game at Anfield, which we are the team for them in their history that they have the worst record against when they play away from home, if that makes sense, if you follow me. So we are something of a bogey team for them when we play at Anfield, and our record against them at Anfield is played 14, won 8 and drawn 6. So it's not perfect, our record, but we've never lost, and this is our first meeting since a 2-1 Reds win in January 1992. What were you doing in January 1992, Nigel? I don't know.
January 19. I would have been 20. Yeah, I was. I was probably watching it on teletext or something.
Yes, of course.
I'm not sure if you guys remember playing against Luton on their plastic pitch at Kenilworth Road.
Yes,
back in the 80s. They had a half decent side as well. They were a good side. And they had the plastic pitch. They were decent. Won the League Cup in 1989 against Arsenal. They were a good side, They were I always liked Luton as a side, as a team. You know what I mean? They were always very, very tough to beat and well organised and a good club. You know what I mean? That's.
Have you seen a good club? Yeah, I mean, I hear bad things about their fans. I don't know if that's true or not. But I don't like to tar fans with the same brush anyway. But I do hear some strange stories about some of their fans anyway. But anyway, Nigel, this season, bringing all the nostalgia to the present, because we're gonna look back on this time and be nostalgic, aren't we? Because it's just such a wonder to be supporting Liverpool these days. What do you make of Luton this season?
They've been unlucky with a few games. They've been conceding goals. Like, they didn't get a good start yesterday. They played they kind of caught us on the hop a bit when we drew with them. We scored a very late equaliser. Now, I was driving home from work that night. I remember listening to Lucho's equaliser on the Liverpool commentary on my car radio on the way home. We missed a lot of chances that night, and they got one chance and scored. We've got to go out here and we've got to do a job. We're at home. Get out there, get in front early, hopefully. Keep going. We might get a chance then to bring in a few young lads later on, maybe second half, lads like McConnell, Bobby Clark, lads like that, and try and get some minutes in their legs as well. I think it's a good opportunity if we can get ahead. Hopefully no more injuries, but it's going to be an interesting bench. I tell you one thing, the team might be interesting, but the bench will be more interesting on Wednesday night. See exactly what we're going to have to play from there. Could be a lot of kids.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, looking back at that game, and as you say, we missed a lot of chances. I've got the XG map in front of me. Liverpool 3.04 XG. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 shots from inside the box, including 4 from inside the 6-yard area, and we scored 1 goal. It's ridiculous. That was one of those games. Luckily, we didn't lose it. Again, resilience. Plenty of Liverpool teams would have lost that match. And so, good on them, the cojones for doing all that. Absolutely brilliant. The steel. So I don't know. I'm feeling quite saucy. I'm not gonna take it as read, that we're gonna win. But that day we had Trent, of course. Trent's gonna be out. Soberslide played, but he's gonna be out. We had Salah played 8 minutes of that match only. 90 minutes. Mohamed Salah, Nunez, and Jota were up front. Of course,
yeah.
we got no
Yeah, sorry, it's got across there, Owen, but it's going to be
fine.
extremely interesting, lads, as Nigel said. The team selection, I think it's going to be massive for the next couple of weeks. I think with the other two lads we mentioned on the pod with Jones and Jota, but I think another opportunity. We spoke quite high. I think we haven't mentioned one today's pod, but I don't know if he's mentioned in the beginning. But Conor Bradley again, it fills
We
me
have.
with
Some Connor
much,
chat.
yeah, so immense joy as well. And a couple of young lads, if they get an opportunity, if we do find ourselves, hopefully in an ideal scenario, if we get to the 50th, 60th minute and we are in a hopeful lead as well, then throw 3 or 4 of the kids on. But not just a case of throw them on. But we've done this already this season. Obviously, Nigel, who's the young lad, the central midfielder, but is it not Bobby Clark? Is it Bobby Clark?
James McConnell.
James McConnell, Bobby Clark as well.
Lewis Kumas.
Yeah, so those 3 names, mate, just give them an opportunity, mate. I think we need to rotate very carefully, but rotate when it's needed as well in the next couple of weeks, because we want to be going as far as we possibly can as well, everyone. It's got to be extremely important, but I'm excited, lads. If these young lads, it's not an ideal situation in the next couple of weeks if they are needed, but you need a strong squad. And if you're a young lad for playing for Liverpool, I don't think you've got any other bigger opportunity than the next couple of weeks and months' time, so the end of May, to stamp your authority on this team, really.
Absolutely. Let's do a team, guys. Let's do a team. So, I mean, Queeve and goal. Queeve has been brilliant. The past 2 performances, absolutely brilliant. I hold my hands up. I expressed some doubt earlier in the season when his form was wobbling, but that was only because of pure rustiness. And he's blown the rust off the Austin Allegro, and now it's back on the road. It's beautiful classic car. And so right back, it's got to be Conor Bradley, or are you going to play Joe Gomez? I don't know. What do you think?
Connor.
For me, Connor?
Yeah.
Conor Bradley.
Conor Bradley, okay, unanimous. Centre backs, again, it's obvious, right? Ibu and Verge.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd be something in the back of my mind, potentially play Quansah, just with the doubt of, but I suppose I think the priority is the Premier League. So yeah, I'd agree with that, but it wouldn't surprise me if Quansah might have come in. But
because Konate can't play 3
yeah,
in a
just
week,
with the injuries that we've had in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's true. But you're prioritising the Premier League over the Carabao.
I think we all would if we could. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I think you're right, guys. I think you're right. So yeah, okay. So we're going full strength. We're going Ibu and Verge. Left back, Andy Robbo or Joe Gomez.
I'd nearly try Gomez. Try Gomez and try and just be a little bit more secure at the back, maybe starting off anyway.
Yeah, I'd maybe just a bit of rhythm as well. Gomez hasn't been in the squad. He has been in my top 3 of best players this season.
Yeah, brilliant.
I think he's been one of the unsung heroes in this squad. Yep. But I'd agree, it's great that we've had Robbo, but it's Luton lads in it.
Robbo, when you talk about rhythm, though, Gomez has had a lot more football than Robbo, so Robbo needs more games. That's why I would pick him.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah. I think we probably will go with Gomez in the final. A bit more defensive.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
And maybe Robbo in the league.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would make sense to me. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Endo in the 6. Endo.
No.
What a guy.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. Like, this morning, as I said, maybe 2 or 3 times, I had about 2 hours sleep last night. And there are moments when, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was Googling Neil Young for some reason on Wikipedia.
Forever young.
Yeah, forever young. Neil Young is amazing. He's one of my favorite songwriters. I mean, his back catalogs have done some beautiful things. But I didn't realize he was married to Daryl Hannah. So that got me into an internet, rabbit hole this morning. And anyway, before I keep going down rabbit holes, it's those times at 5 in the morning, the witching hour, when nobody in the world is up apart from those with children, babies, and your mind just goes off wherever it wants to go. And whenever it comes back to Endo, I just picture him looking deadly serious, having just got a yellow card for just barging someone off the ball. And I you know, I got it. I get a little glow of joy from Endo. I freaking love the guy. So he's in the 6. That's not under any debate. With McAllister, and does Gravenberch keep his place after that performance?
Yeah, I think he
Do you
has to.
bring Harvey in? Because they'll
No.
break down Luton a bit better than
No, but
Gravenberch?
I think Harvey has an impact sub again. He hasn't really. I don't like saying it about him, but starting games against bigger, more physical teams hasn't really worked for him. So I think an impact sub is for Harvey.
Okay, and you're giving
start Gravenberch.
And you're giving Gravenberch the opportunity to prove that he can be physical 2 games in a row.
Yep.
Which would be a good opportunity for him.
I'd be possibly inclined to maybe drop a youngster in there, lads. I don't know. Maybe McConnell. Was it the league game that I had the privilege of going to? Very luckily, I think it was one of the FA Cup. It was League Cup or the FA Cup, and he just plays. And at first, I didn't see the lineup until like half time, until 10 minutes in, and you just see that ball get drifted into the back post, and you come off the ground and go, "You got that assist, by the way?" I was like, I thought it was like Trent or someone, but it was McConnell. I was like, "Oh,
yes.
bloody hell!"
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think we would go strong, but I'd like a little flutter in a McConnell or a Bobby Clark. Nigel, you see a lot more of the youth than me, mate. Is Bobby a left-sided midfielder or a right-sided midfielder? In a midfield, is it a midfield for you play the youth?
I'd say he's more of a kind of an attacking type player, Jack. I'm not sure about sides.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about sides. He kind of
can
plays
play
in a kind of play either. I think, or maybe even a 10. But he's got a bit of the nasty about him as well. He can put a foot in.
Yeah.
Remember that yellow card he took there a few weeks ago?
Stood up on that as well.
Yeah. He's got a bit of that in him as well. He's a good player.
Excellent. But I'm not sure you convinced me from the start, Jack. As you say, we've got to prioritise winning this league, and I think Gravenberch's got a bit more experience, and he's got, he deserves to start after his performance off the bench, I think, because he was we'll give him a go. And Luton is a perfect test for him because it's exactly that kind of physicality that he needs to prove himself in. So we're going with Endo, Maka, and Gravenberch in midfield. And then up front, do we have a choice? We got Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo, and Luis Diaz. Or if Darwin's fit, are you going to risk him? Or are you going to say no? I'd keep Darwin on the bench.
I'd unleash Darwin at Wembley.
Yeah.
If you need to keep him fit, just keep him fit.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. It was a couple of weeks ago. Klopp spoke about potential bruising as well. I think social media is a cesspool of false information at the minute. Like with injuries, it's like you log on and on X, and it's like, oh, someone's not involved in the team media press releases like for the match. It's like, what you believe? But I think it will be those 3 lads. I'd like to see Bento come back a bit more quicker because I would have liked this season to have seen a bit more of him. But it's just sad with the injuries that he has sustained this year. Because I think he started off extremely well. I think we remember that Bayern Munich game pre-season, and we were all licking our lips going, oh, this could be the year he breaks through, but I think we'll have to wait. I think him and Kay Gordon being disappointed with their injuries, come at the wrong time in their young careers as well. But
Kate scored the weekend, by the way.
Yeah. Did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Against who?
The under-18s won 2-1, I think. He scored a goal.
Oh, great.
And I think, I'm trying to think who got the other one. I think it was Jaden Dan's got the other goal.
Okay.
They won and the other young lads then lost to the under-18s. I think lost to Man City.
Okay.
2-1.
So the 23. So Kate Gordon scored for the 23s.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was the 23s.
Yeah. Okay. But no, I mean it's. Yeah. I mean let's just hope he can find a bit more luck. Same with the Kelvin Ramsey as well. I mean, unlucky that guy as well. But okay, so we're all in full agreement, more or less, in terms of a starting lineup against Luton. I'm not looking forward to the cup final yet because I'm just looking forward to Luton. And there is something about the process, isn't there? Of going through a season. And I think what under Jurgen Klopp, something that it's taught me is that when your team is playing well and winning games, like someone was saying that Roy Keane, after United won the league, he would be sort of quite moody and feel quite down because that's when they'd done their job. And, you know, they had to go and get another one.
No change there then.
Well, yes, I know he is. He's a bit. Yeah, I mean, it's a bad example of someone who's as sulky and pouty as the most aggrieved teenager. So yes, but a different example. Then there are people who spend their entire life, like for example, film directors, and they could spend years, like Stanley Kubrick, making a film, and then as soon as that film is done, you'd think they'd be delighted. Or if they're writing a book and they finish the book, and as soon as the book is finished, you would think, well, they've got to be delighted when the book is published and it's popular, when the film is out and everybody goes to see it. But no, a lot of people, they say that's the worst feeling because they don't have the joy of the process of creativity. And for me, I think under Jurgen Klopp, I've learned, in a sense, I'm not that bothered if we win the league or not, if we win another trophy or not, if we beat Chelsea or not. Of course, I would love to. And I think the players deserve it. But what I really enjoy is just the footy. I love watching this team. I love watching these guys. I love watching us try. And just like us, they're giving everything, just as we would do every single game, apart from Arsenal when everyone was sick. We'll leave that one. Go by the by. This team plays that we want. We would love to, and they're a credit to the shirt. Go on.
I think that goes to what we've been through, like in terms of the bad seasons as well, though, Owen. I think obviously you two lads are. I know I'm 28.
Choose your words carefully, young man.
You've seen a lot more better Liverpool sides than me. I'll say that. But it's the modern, especially if you go on Twitter or social media, I think people a bit more younger than me, they just grew up with Jurgen Klopp. And Lord behold, if the next 5-10 years, hopefully they are very good, if we get Alonso or we win all the trophies. But as you just alluded to there, Owen, enjoy the moments, enjoy the now, enjoy the future as what's to come as well. That should be what is exciting me as a fan. Like all of us, this squad, it's not a pile of dross like it used to be when Klopp inherited that. That team was absolutely horrendous, by the way, as well as we know that this team inherited. Like, if you look at that picture, remember Klopp's first game was against Tottenham, and you're like, what is this? But the team he's leaving now, Jurgen, will be sat in a pub in Marbella or wherever. Enjoy it, Jurgen. Enjoy your year off because you have put everything on the line for this football club, and we love you, and we'll love you even more when you are gone. But sometimes you just got to move on, and Jurgen will be hopefully celebrating in our future success as well. I think he'll be at the front of all the celebrations himself.
The most remarkable. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
I was just going to say he's got the freedom of Merseyside, so we can pop into Mike Ken for a cup of tea or so on. Or
Damn right, absolutely. He's got the freedom of, I don't know, my apartment as well, if he wants to come over for a cuppa. Absolutely. The most remarkable thing about the first 11 that everyone talks about that he played against Tottenham was the bench. The bench was Joe Allen, Jordan Ibe, Adam Bogdan, João Carlos Teixeira, Jerome Sinclair, 59-year-old Kolo Touré, and Connor Randall. Wow. Imagine taking a team with that bench to 2 cup finals that season. Absolutely insane, man. It's insane. So, Nigel, do you have anything to add before? Is it at Irish Red 11 on Twitter or X if you're on there? At Irish Red 11. That's 11 the numbers, 11. Check Nigel out on X. Thank you so much, Nigel. It's always lovely to talk to you. Do you have anything to add? Or
no, just what Jack was saying there. He said he was too young to see some of the better teams. Well, he mightn't have been too young to see some of the absolute drivel that came after 1990. Like I remember, I was 18 in 1990, and Kenny left.
95, baby me. Yeah, so
Kenny left, and soon as took over, we won a cup in 1982. But then we had to watch this other, and like we were getting this, like even though when I'm in Ireland, like so. I mean, we were getting this sewn into us by Man United fans all of a sudden, and we're getting piles on top of us, like by everything. And it was tough going. It was tough going.
Some of the 90s teams weren't as bad as Red. Like I think like the Roy Evans team had a moment where it's just bad decisions at bad times in terms of players being brought in and also not selling certain players. Some bad decisions were made at the wrong time, and we could have done a lot better in the transfer market, and we could have got rid of players quicker as well. But all of that's way gone in the past. But then in the 2000s,
Gerard Houllier had a revolution.
Yeah, he turned it around.
I'm not discounting Gerard Houllier.
And that's probably when you started paying attention. Was it Jack? Sort of the end of Gerard Houllier, 2002.
Yeah, I would.
You
would have
been 7,
5, 6, or yeah. I just wish, and it's just great hindsight of because obviously when you're younger and you don't really. Well, your memory's not the best, but you're there in the moment, but you're not really taking it in, as you are when you are like 18, 20 or whatnot. You're actually taking photographic memory, and you're there with your mates in the pub or whatnot now. But yeah, special moments. What a man, Gerard Houllier. We love him. Obviously, RIP, but what a man. He transformed us in a very good way. And I think he laid the foundations of what was the 20 years later as well. So it's one of them. Obviously, with Raphael, we love him. But it's the thing as well that if you're asked most of social media to name that bench against Tottenham, none of them would have a Scooby-Doo. But it's one of them. The good moments and the bads as well. This is what makes Liverpool as a fan base as well. We had a very special, unique club, and we support our own and we support each other as well. And we get behind our lads, good or bad. If they're going through a difficult moment, we get behind them even more. And if there is some difficult moments this season, then that's where we get behind them even more. And it's just sad that Jurgen's leaving, but exciting times post the end of this year, I'm sure.
Just got to enjoy the moment, channel our 5-year-old selves and be in the moment. And as Virgil says, enjoy the footy. That's the secret of staying calm. Thank you so much, Nigel. Thank you very much, Jack. So that's Anfield Road TV. Yet again, if you missed that, then do check him out right now, because that'd be brilliant. Thank you to everybody. This has been Kop On podcast@gmail.com. patreon.com/Kop On podcast if you want to support independent podcasts for as little as $1 a month or €1 a month or whatever your currency is. Anything would be very appreciated if you want to, but if you don't feel bad about it, because it's very, very lovely to be to be in your ears with such lovely guests. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. You'll never walk alone. Ta-ra!